First of all, I want to welcome to our Government Center and welcome you to our Community Information Center session for our proposed charter high school. Thank you for taking the time for coming out tonight. And before we begin, I'd like to introduce the Aventura City Commission. We have Mayor Enid Weissman, Vice Mayor Howard Weinberg, Commissioner Denise Landman, Commissioner Dr. Marks, Commissioner Robert Shelley is already standing, Commissioner Gladys Mizrahi, and I think we also have a representative here from Martin Karp, Dr. Martin Karp from the Miami-Dade County School Board. At this time, I'd like to ask, and Sally Allen from Miami-Dade County School Board. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to ask Richard Page, our Chief Impact Officer for Charter School USA, to come forward and introduce his team that he has here for tonight for the presentation.
Good evening. Again, Richard Page with Charter Schools USA. With me tonight, this is Rachel Windler-Freitag. She's a Vice President of Education for Charter Schools USA. We also have Stephen Tutler and Cheryl McDonough, who are with our development and application team. And this is Deborah Montella, who is our Vice President of Marketing for Charter Schools USA.
Thank you. They're going to present in just a moment. What we want to discuss first is what is the purpose of tonight's meeting. And a lot of this is just getting input from you, the parents of the potential students. So we're going to talk about the school location and the timeline tonight, obtain your input on the mission and vision statement, seek input on some of the educational offerings that are out there. There's going to be some survey opportunities that you'll have to respond to, and also seek your support for the school itself as we go forward with the charter school application. And of course, we're going to have a question and answer session at the end to hopefully respond to all your questions. I just want to make one thing clear. Tonight, we are not discussing the admissions preference or eligibility criteria. That's not happening tonight. That will take place on the June 14th City Commission meeting next week. So that, again, that will not be discussed tonight. So many of you probably have heard where the school location is. It's located on Northeast 213th Street, and this is the proposed site. It's adjacent to Waterways Park. It's a 2-acre site. We're under contract right now with the Corporation of Gulfstream to purchase that, and we have a closing date in September of 2017. The school will serve grades 9 to 12. We're proposing a gym to serve the school, be adjacent to the site. As you can see from the arrow, it shows the proposed gym location. And again, this is all part of the discussions as we go forward with the construction of the school. We estimate that the cost of the construction at this point, and again, we're very early on in this stage. I need to make that point very clear. The City Commission has been at this for about 2.5 months now in the planning stages, so it's very early. But at this early point, we definitely want to get your input on a lot of the items that would take place at the school. So the construction that we're estimating at this point is about $12 million, which does include the gym component. And as far as the school timeline, these are some important periods that we have to meet in terms of getting the school up and running. The City Commission meeting to discuss the consideration of the enrollment preference will take place on June 14th at 6 p.m. It's a regular City Commission meeting, so there's other items on that commission meeting. We'll try to move that item forward as best as we can. There's a deadline of August 1st to submit the school application to the Miami-Dade County School Board for the charter. We're looking at awarding the request for proposal for the actual design and build of the school in August of this year. Again, we'll be closing on the property in September if all goes well. And then we anticipate the charter school determination date by Miami-Dade County School Board. The approval of the application takes someplace in November. And then we look at finalizing the charter school contract with Miami-Dade School Board in March, and then have an open enrollment for the school in January of 2019, and the school opening in August of 19, And then, of course, we'll have a grand opening celebration to celebrate the opening of the school. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Richard Page to go through their proposal and get some input on the school itself. Thank you.
Good evening. The next few slides are just to provide a little bit of an overview of some of the highlights that we would like to see as proposed part of the school. These are some of the things we want you to think about, because in the next segment we're going to be asking for your feedback to help drive the mission and vision for the school. So some of the things that we're thinking to expect at the school would include research-based, data-driven instructional strategies to focus on individualized learning for students. We would also propose to have high academic success through interactive and relevant learning experiences, focusing on a lot of hands-on activities for the students. A rigorous curriculum that meets the basic needs of individual students, preparing them for 21st century. We know that the world that our children are living in today is very different from the one that we grew up in, so it's important to make sure that the school prepares the students for the future world that they'll be living in. In an environment where students will succeed and flourish intellectually, socially, and emotionally, focusing on the whole child. So obviously there's a big focus on academics, but we also want to make sure that we're focusing on the education of the entire child. Some additional components that we always like to see in some of the high schools is a high school entrance interview. That is something that would take place after students have already been accepted and registered at the school. This helps ease the transition from the 8th grade school experience into the high school experience. It's an opportunity for the school staff to learn about the student and discuss academic coursework, career and college aspirations to help put them on the correct pathway, and what I'll get into a little bit later regarding different academy models. This is also an opportunity where students would take a look at what coursework and what track they would be focusing on. So for example, there might be a track where students would have an opportunity to graduate from high school with their high school diploma as well as their AA degree at the same time. Or would students be more fit to go onto a different track where we're focused just on a high school or an honors academic diploma?
Okay, let me see. All right, so now we're going to have a little bit of time for some feedback from you. You guys are going to have an opportunity. I know everybody in this room has one of these devices. So you're going to have an opportunity to provide your feedback with your phone here in a minute. We're going to start with the mission statement. We want to get feedback on mission and vision. So here's what I'm going to do. First thing, I'll go ahead and since this slide's up, I'm going to frame up what a mission statement is for a second before I get your feedback. But while I'm doing that, just so you see the process, is all you got to do is break out your phone and you'll text to this number, 22333. In your initial text this word, Charter School. Notice there's not an L here. Charter School 614. Text that, and then you'll get a message saying, okay, you're in. You can start to contribute to our input here, okay? So while you're doing that, and I'll put this back on the screen in a minute. 22333, Charter School 614. We're going to start with mission. We're going to do both mission and vision, and what we're going to do is get your feedback, and then we're going to take a look at the results real time. But before we do that, let me just kind of frame this real quick for you. I want you to remember a mission. There's a mission and a vision. And so first, we're so early in the process, we're just framing this part of it up, right? This school is proposed to open in 2019. Just in case, I can't say that enough. This isn't next year. This is 2 years from now. So we're beginning this process, and one thing we discussed is the importance of getting your feedback, right? And so mission statement. What is a mission statement? Essentially, it will answer the question, who the school is. What does it do? Who does it serve? And what will the school achieve? So a good mission statement is concise, free of jargon, and impactful. So we want it to be concise, right? But impactful with key words around who it serves, what it does, and what will it achieve. So think about that for a second. And then what I want you to do is take a couple of minutes, and I want you to think about the key words. So don't write a mission statement. Don't write a sentence. We're looking for like 3 words that are the words that you think really define what the mission of this high school should be for your community. What is the impact of it? Is it college preparatory, or is it student engagement or learning or leadership or things like that? So the things that matter to you, text them, and then what's going to happen is, as we get all your feedback, it will populate up what's called a word wall. So we'll put up on the screen, hopefully, in the magic of technology. The words that kind of came out the most will be bigger, and it'll be just kind of like a little tapestry of all the input that we get. So, any questions on how? So we're going to give you just a couple of minutes. Think about it, and then we'll see the results, and then we'll do the same thing for the vision statement. Are you pumping the words you want? Yeah, you can submit multiple times if you want. If there's a certain word or there's 2 or 3 words that like, I really want this one and this one, then submit another text. It's okay. It's better to submit 2 with short words than 1 with long. It'll show up on the screen better, more impactful. I guess if I click that, it'll show it. Are some people getting results? Or are we having? You're getting. Okay. Does anyone have any technical problems? Just saying, confirming you're in. You have a question? You're good? There's no L. All right, we're going to give it another minute or two. How are we all doing? Our commissioners get our comments in? Still working? Not working for you? Not participating? All right. You can keep, just so you know, it'll be open for a little while. We're going to put the screen up and move, but certainly you're free to, if you have any more great ideas, you can keep texting. All right, so I'm going to move. Let's see what happens. Okay. So college, interesting college, right front and center, and leadership. So that was clearly prominence, excellent, but college prep, we're definitely seeing that in the design, communication, excellent leaders, respect, success, character. Technology looks like it's fairly up there as well. Those are good. All right, I'm going to tap away from this. And now we're going to do the same thing, but for a vision statement. Now, a vision statement is a little bit different. Mission is about what is. A vision is an aspirational statement. What do we want it to be? Okay? It's an ambitious, long-term direction for, in this case, the school. So it's bigger picture. All right? So a goal or a vision, it's not necessarily easy to achieve. Right? So we want it to be the best high school in the country, or the national design for what a municipal school can be. Things like that are, highly aspirational. Same thing, we're going to keep the word short so that we can create a similar picture. Now, same text, so what happens if...
Folks, you'll just continue
Okay, so now they'll come and it'll start populating the vision. So what about the mission one? That? Okay. So, all right. So let's give it another minute if you would. Vision statement, aspirational long-term goals, view. Where does this high school, where's it going to end up? What do you want it to be? Let's give it a couple of minutes. I think it's spinning here, but your comments will start popping in, right? Spin is good. Spin is not usually good. That scares me. What's after this? Your 27 slides. All right, how we doing? Look good? What do I do now? Click it again? Yeah. Still spinning. I told you, spinning's not good. All right, so. Well, but that was the mission one. Oh, you have to leave and come back? Okay. No. All right. Yeah, go for it. We'll give it a minute.
Connection issues.
Is it?
So, yeah, let's just go.
All right.
I will get it. Folks, we will, while you can't see it on the screen, the text that you are sending.
All right. Well, thank you for that input. It isn't lost in space forever. We believe we will capture it, and we can produce it back and bring it to the city. We just can't get the connection to pop on the screen. But I do appreciate that input. It will be helpful as we continue to work with stakeholders to develop the mission and vision of the school. We're going to move on now. I'm going to turn it back over to Rachel, and we're going to talk a little bit more detail about the educational design, a little bit about the Charter Schools USA model, and the things that we're thinking at this point in time about what the high school design would look like. You want to take it there? You want this? It's not advancing.
Deborah, it's not advancing.
Maybe I just...
It's for...
So one of the important things that Richard just mentioned is that these are just some initial thoughts and ideas regarding some of the models that we currently operate in our high-performing high schools. But along the way, we'll have many opportunities to elicit your feedback because it's going to be crucial as we finalize what the educational design will eventually look like.
No, just give it 1 second.
Computer just crashed.
You can start talking.
Okay.
So we're going to try to get it back online here in a minute.
Okay. All right, while we're waiting for the PowerPoint to reload, I'll just start talking through some of the ideas that we've already been in design for. So some of the innovative learning methods that we typically include in our schools include personalized learning plans. That means every single student has a personalized learning plan where the students are setting goals for themselves based on the data. Thank you. And so the students are the ones that are driving their goal setting. It helps them in the future as they're achieving goals in their life. They're also focusing on where are they now and where do they need to be. And they're setting those goals for themselves, they're tracking their progress, and they're sharing that information with you, the parents, and the teachers. They're the ones who drive those conferences. Student-centered learning, I mentioned before. This is where the students, we're focused on their learning styles. We're focused on the needs that each individual student has. Blended learning. I know we had a little snafu with technology right now, but that was just one example of some of the ways that we interact with technology in the classroom. Students are engaged in technology in their day-to-day life outside of school. We bring that into the classroom and we feed upon the benefits that technology can bring and the learning that students can participate in through technology. Differentiated learning. This goes back to very similar to our student-centered learning. How does each individual child learn? What are their different learning styles? What are their different learning levels? And how do we differentiate that for each child so that their education is meaningful to them? And then project-based learning. We're focused on those challenges, helping students see the challenges that they anticipate in real life and how they can be a part of solving those problems. Integrating a lot of STEM and STEAM into the academics with technology and robotics and other areas. Obviously, I mentioned before, 21st century learning. The key components that we focus on in our 21st century learning and preparation for students is on collaboration. Students need opportunities on a daily basis to be able to collaborate with each other so that they can be successful in the world that they're going to be living in. Focusing in on their critical thinking skills, not just rote memorization, that's not important anymore. We need to make sure that not only do students know and understand information, but they know how to apply it and think critically about the world around them. Creativity. We need to tap into the successes that our students have in their creative thinking. And then communication. Many students have struggles and difficulties, especially in the workplace. When high school students and college students now are transitioning to the workplace, they have problems with communicating with others because right now they're hiding behind a cell phone. They know how to text with each other. They know how to interact with social media. So then when they get into a social setting, they struggle with just basic communication. So we want to make sure that basic communication skills are built into their curriculum so that they can be successful in the world that they're going to be living in. One of the other designs that we focus on in our high schools is an academy model. An academy model is a small learning community. This is where students are put together in a family of curriculum. So it's focused on what are the things that they want to do as they move into the college and into the workforce. What are the classes that they're going to be taking? We focus on a college preparatory curriculum with a career theme, enabling students to see relationships among the academic subjects. So looking at the interdisciplinary study based on a pathway that they've chosen. And then partnerships with employees in the community. So a big part of the academy model is taking a look at what are the community's needs, what are the interests for the students, what are the things that they want to go on to in the future, and that's how the academies are designed. It's based on the student interest and demand as well as the needs of the community. One of the other aspects of the academy model is a freshman academy. All students who enter the school into a freshman academy are part of this. This is where all of the students are working together, and I'll go into some details of the freshman academy in a moment. But during the freshman academy is when the preparation and the work begins to start thinking about which academy they would enter, an academic academy, for 10th through 12th grade. And again, that demand is based on what the students are interested in and what the industry needs. So some details about the freshman academy. In a freshman academy, all of the students are assigned a mentor and they worked specifically with a guidance counselor within this family. The guidance counselor and the mentor meet with the student at least 4 times a year, and then there's at least 2 times that they're meeting with the parents, so 1 in each semester. This really helps the children transition again from that 8th grade into a high school experience. It helps them start thinking about their future and putting them on a successful pathway. That can be really challenging for students, and so being part of this freshman academy where they have an advocate that's working with them, an adult in the building that they can connect with, really helps ease that transition for students. Some examples of a freshman academy course that the students would be taking as part of that freshman academy focuses on study skills. So sometimes our students in that transition struggle with this basic organization. Technology courses to help them with ways that they can use technology and interact with technology to be productive. Working on their personal development, career and college research. So oftentimes students might not know what they want to do in the future. Some students by 9th grade might know what they want to do when they go into college, into the workforce. Other students don't. So there's a lot of focus on helping them do that research so they can understand what options they have for them. Working on personal finance. How do they manage a checkbook? How do they manage their personal finances? If they have goals and aspirations to have these things in their life, then what are the kinds of careers that they need to think about in order to achieve their goals? Local and global cultural awareness, public speaking, critical thinking, and community mindsetness. Other aspects of the Freshman Academy course are opportunities for students to develop their own personal mission statement. What are the things that they want to focus on as a student? Again, that college and career research project. So this is that opportunity for the students to develop that research. A role model research project. How can they, as freshmen, think about how they can be role models to other students and other children in the community that they live in? And then a personal finance project. Again, all designed to help students with that transition from a middle school experience to a high school experience. This is just a visual representation of one of the kinds of diplomas that students could receive if the school ends up offering an ACE program. So in an ACE program, students have the opportunity to either earn college credits or they can graduate with an ACE diploma. If we go on this pathway and students do graduate with an ACE diploma, all of the dots on that map show the colleges around the country that accept the ACE diplomas and ACE credits, and then those are just some local colleges that accept the credits as well. Now let's talk about clubs and activities. So some of the clubs and activities that we typically see on high schools include a student government, a debate club, engineering, journalism, technology, robotics, coding. A lot of our schools, we're starting to offer coding now down into kindergarten. National Honor Society, and Science Club. These are just a few examples of the kinds of clubs and activities that we see in many of our high schools. You will have an opportunity that you'll learn about at the end of tonight to provide your feedback for the different kinds of clubs and activities, as well as elective courses that you might want to see in this high school.
All right, so that was a high-level overview of the types of the kind of the plan and the vision for where we want to go with the high schools. You can see there's a long way to go here, right? We're early in the process. As Rachel had indicated, and actually you'll have a little handout to remind you as you go home tonight, there are 2 other things that we would like your input on to participate, and this is actually online. It is up on the city's website now. So if you go to the city's website, and we'll keep it up probably till, we submit the application, right, over the next couple of months. The plan is to submit the charter application to the school district on August 1st, somewhere in that timeline. So we have another 6-8 weeks as we're gathering the app, pulling pieces together. There's 2 things here. One, there's a survey. Okay, and the survey is really, as Rachel indicated, a place for you to answer some very specific questions about curriculum, content, courses, extracurriculars, things of that nature that you think are important, that we can gather your feedback so that that can work its way into the design of the school. So go to the website and click on the survey and fill it out for us, please, and tell your friends. Get it, get the word out. It'll be online for like I said, the next 6 weeks or so. We'll be gathering that content. The other thing is the petition. This is also very important. We want your community support. We want you to demonstrate that this is something you think is good for the community and you want. And part of the process of getting approval from the Miami-Dade School District for this charter school is the demonstration of community interest, community support. So we really need the residents to sign this petition. It will be included in the application to demonstrate, yeah, the community wants this. They feel this is a good thing for them. This is why the district, you need to approve this. Ultimately, the district has to authorize the city to be allowed to open this school. So there'll be a button on the website. You can click on it. It's really simple. You just provide some basic information, essentially signing, saying, yeah, I support this. I'm interested in this school. So please take the time to do those two things. Again, both of those, 6 weeks or so on. If you go home tonight or do it on the way, we would appreciate it. But if you can't, don't forget and take the time to do it. All right. We're going to turn it over to more direct input, question, answer from you about anything about timeline or content. As you can see, the specifics, we don't have course offerings or things of that nature. We're way too early in the process for that level of detail. But if you guys have any questions about timeline or structure, we're happy to take them now.
Thank you. What type of protocols do you have in place to protect the kids from when you open up a new school and there's so many things that go through the, working out all the kinks and getting the school to function correctly, and it's such an important year, 9th grade. What is it that you guys do to be able to safeguard the kids and protecting them?
You want to take that, Rachel?
One of the things that we're hoping to do with this high school is to make sure that the leadership team is hired well enough in advance so that by the time the school opens, a lot of those kinks have already been worked out. We have a large network where our sister schools work with each other to walk through some of the nuances on, what are some of the things that can go on in the first day. But the security of the building is our number one. So we always make sure that as buildings are built, that it is secure and a safe place for students. I'm not sure if I answered your question specifically. If you want to rephrase that. Yes.
There's I imagine some type of protocol that is followed by your company to be able to make sure that when the kids start school, they're not guinea pigs, there's a functioning system in place.
Absolutely, yes. And so we are well experienced with opening up new schools every single year, and they open with the proper staff in place to ensure that the students have the ability to have their education. So again, hiring the leadership team early. So the goal is to hire the principal at least by the December of the previous year that the school is going to open. So that then we hire the assistant principal. We have an entire talent acquisition development team that works on the recruitment and the hiring of all of the teachers to ensure that we are recruiting highly qualified teachers for the school. Same with guidance counselors, making sure that the staff is all in place prior to school. And then we actually start the training for new schools 3 weeks before school starts. So the 3 weeks before the school starts, we've got 2 weeks of new teacher induction where all of the teachers go through an intensive training process, and then there's 1 week where it's more focused on practices and policies and entering and exiting, and so more rituals and routines versus the curriculum. There's 2 full weeks of that training prior to school starting. You're welcome.
So this is incredibly exciting. We appreciate you being here. I have a question. So how many charter high schools are there in Miami-Dade? And it seems, based on what you're saying, that all of them are not created equal. I thought that all of them were like kind of the same type. So can you explain a little bit about that?
So in terms of the exact number of charter high schools in Miami-Dade, I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head. Maybe Enid, you might know. Or just... there's probably a few. I know we have one in Homestead that we operate, and there's probably a handful of others, maybe half dozen, 6, 8 charter high schools. And yeah, you're absolutely right. They're all very different. They have different designs, different focuses, like perhaps on their academy. Some of them are focused on STEM only. Some of them are performing arts. Some of them, are college prep. Some of them are focused on just helping kids get getting their diploma and getting them certified into VOTEC type of, career. So the beauty of the charter model is you do have a degree of flexibility in your design. Now, the schools still are subject to the state standards. You still have to take the state tests. You're still going to get a letter grade, just like every other public school, still a public school. But particularly in high school, much more so than K through 8, charter schools have a much broader degree because of all the electives and things that you can integrate in that make them very different. Yeah. Go ahead. Maybe I can get to you.
I'm not sure if you guys already discussed that, but when are we will be talking about the admissions process? Would that be next week?
Yeah.
Do we already have anything that is going on regarding, is this going to be a lottery to all Aventura residents?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we discussed at the beginning of the meeting, that's going to be discussed at the City Commission meeting on June 14th next week. And nothing has been set yet. That will be all discussed at that meeting.
Hi there, Michael Yavner. So you talked a little bit about the curriculum timeline and vision and mission, and you want our. Can you give us a little bit better idea of what that mission, vision, input from us is going to be and what the timeline looks like? And then also on the curriculum, you said you're going to start with the 9th and 10th grade. Adding on that, if our kids are advanced perhaps or going into that track, if they're possibly taking 11th grade classes or getting AP credits or things like that, can you talk a little bit about that and how that would be addressed at that point?
Well, let me take the first part, and then Rachel will take the second part. So we're gathering some input today. We intend to have at least another workshop with the city staff and probably the city commission on the design of the application before it goes in. And then there'll be other opportunities over the next 2 years before the school gets open to really fill in more of those details. And even as the school opens, I mean, things like clubs and extracurriculars, those tend to be very dynamic things. They build and grow as the students who come in say, I really want, a robotics club, and there's enough kids, and they go do it. So it will continue to iterate. Now, in terms of being able to serve the kids who are on the different levels of rigor, even though it's just a 9th grade,
Absolutely, and that's why one of the key components is making sure that once students are accepted in the school and have registered, that they come in for those entrance interviews where we conduct a transcript audit of what other courses they've already taken. Many of our students are taking high school level courses in middle school, so we need to make sure that we've got that evidence, and then we can build upon that for what the high school coursework is going to look like. So there's that entrance interview where we're gaining their feedback on what are the courses that they'd like to take, and then based on that demand, making sure that we've got the appropriate courses scheduled for the following year.
On that 14th meeting? That mission and vision, is that set on the 14th? The mission and vision, is that already set on the 14th when you're?
No, the 14th is just for the admissions policy.
Thank you.
Hi, I wanted to find out if you've opened any charter school high schools that are IB, and is that something you've considered? There are very few in Dade County or Broward County, and it would be an excellent thing to bring as an opportunity for our students.
No, currently all of our high school programs offer the Cambridge model, but it is something that we are definitely open to, and that's why we're eliciting your feedback, because we are not set on one, either Cambridge or IB, or the possibility of both. It's more difficult to do both, but... Okay. Yes, and Cambridge offers the same opportunity as well. So they're very similar, but there's a little bit of nuances between the two programs.
So when the school opens, will it open only for 9th grade or 9, 10, 11? And how do we make sure from a government standpoint that every person that lives in Aventura signs the petition?
So the first part of the question is, yes, the plan is 9th grade, year 1, and then each year it'll grow from there.
9th and 10th.
I'm sorry. 9th and 10th, year 1. So, and then it'll grow to 11th and 12th. My bad. And then in terms of the petition?
Are you talking about the petition for tonight?
The support petition.
And the question was?
How do we get everybody to sign it?
Well, we do our best. It's on our website, and we ask everybody to sign it. But the bottom line is we don't need a specific number when we put our application in. We just need to show good community support.
Get the
Hi, I'm Nikki Shane. You mentioned that you would meet with the incoming freshmen to look at their transcripts and see what courses you'd need to offer. Wouldn't that be too late if you're only meeting with them after they're accepted?
There would be some core courses that would already be part of the plan prior to that, but the enrollment process starts in January and typically ends by March. So by March of the previous school year is when we would start those entrance interviews. So that's enough time to plan for the schedule for the following year.
Good evening. I was wondering, in terms of the timeline, at what point does it get finalized what the capacity in terms of number of students is? Is that happening soon, much later, and how much flexibility is there?
So with the initial application, we have to put in a capacity number. That could be amended at any time through the process, but a number will be selected when we originally put in the application.
Can you remind us when that is?
It's August 1st.
In a couple of months. That has to get finalized as we submit the application to the district and by August, our original ramp. Somebody?
I guess it's more for the city. Budget-wise, do you expect any reassessment from the taxes due to this school itself?
So this is what our financing plan is at this point. As I said, it's $12 million. We're looking at taking $6 million out of our reserve account. And then the remaining $6 million, there's a bank loan that we took out to build a community recreation center years ago that ends, and we pay that off, and we would just substitute this additional debt for that debt, so there'll be no additional impact on our budget if we stay within that $12 million envelope. So I know I saw a flyer today that somebody said your taxes are going up. The way the financial model is proposed today, your taxes will not go up.
Thank you. Ira Halfond. I have a question. Is the curriculum take into account for special needs and students with disabilities?
The simple answer is yes, and I'll let Rachel, if she wants to expand upon that.
Yes, for students with IEPs, 504 plans, and gifted plans, all students are part of the enrollment process and would be accepted into the school, and we follow whatever their plans indicate.
I just have a question. If we didn't pay that $6 million, aren't they a for-profit corporation? So why are we giving them another $6 million? Wouldn't that $6 million better be spent for the rest of Aventura and the rest of the residents?
Okay.
Or all of the residents?
The cost of the school, the $12 million, is not going to Charter School USA. They will get what's called a management fee to operate the school, and that will be determined based on our negotiations. We have a similar arrangement we have with our current charter school at ACES.
But isn't ACES owned by the city of Aventura?
Correct.
And this will not be owned by the city of Aventura.
Okay, the city of Aventura will own the building. We're paying for the building. We will own the building.
And you're going to, and the land.
Right,
True.
we're own the land, correct.
But they're going to get the profit for running the school, where the city of Aventura gets the profit for running ACES. Am I right?
No, there is no profit.
There's no profit, but
There is no profit in running the school.
so we're going to be under a duty to maintain this building because the city is going to own the building, but they're going to run the school.
What happens is there's revenues that come in from your school taxes that you pay to Miami-Dade County,
Correct.
and we get them per child. And with those revenues, that's what's used to maintain the schools, pay the teachers, pay for the electricity, the books, and everything else. It does not affect the general government side of our operations.
But now you're going to have to pay for this school in addition, correct? And you're saying that our property taxes are not going to go up?
And again, that's coming from each student that we receive a dollar amount from the school board for revenue. And that's what it's the same from the state. It's the same process that we have for ACES.
I'd like to know why you didn't let the residents of Aventura vote on this. Why you didn't put it on a ballot to let the residents determine whether they want a high school or not.
I think, and I'm going to speak for myself, I think what we've been hearing, as I've been a city manager here for 21 years, and we started ACES. And we started ACES 14 years ago as a K-5. They wanted a middle school. The city commission then delivered a middle school. And for years, they wanted a high school, the next step. And because of various reasons, it didn't come about. This city commission took a giant step. We had a great opportunity when the Gulfstream development needed some development approvals from the city, and we took that opportunity to negotiate and acquire the property. That's what's making this possible today. So I think we've heard a lot of support from the city. I know this has been a major goal of the city commission.
But you didn't plan on the traffic on 213th Street, did you?
As we go through this process, as we do with any development, as we do with our other schools and our government facilities, we will look at traffic and make sure that we take the appropriate step to alleviate traffic in that area. There's a lot of things that we're currently looking at as part of it.
With the traffic?
I'm sorry?
After we were buried with the traffic? Because there are a few 5 buildings that were built in 207 that nobody gave any consideration for traffic. There are some plans for the waterways for additional developments. We are standing in traffic in Aventura. And from what I understand from one of the respectable PDs here, this is not the city of Aventura, this is the DOT. So what, we need to have the high school and we're standing one car after the other, and 10 years from now they'll resolve that issue, or you plan ahead?
So 213th is owned by the city. It's not a county road. It's not FDOT. We're responsible for that. And there's already considerations and plans being looked at trying to mitigate traffic that's involved with the high school. One thing you have to understand, it's a 2-acre site. There'll be very limited parking on that location. And in fact, there'll probably be very limited parking for students as well. But we have a transit system. We have a shuttle bus system that serves about 25,000 residents a month, and we'll be looking at that to try to supplement the operations over there in terms of transportation. And as part of the school itself, there'll have to be a traffic study to determine the best way to have the ingress and egress for the school.
I'm sorry. I have also been a citizen of the city of Aventura for 21 years, and my point of view...
Let's give her a big round of applause, too.
My point of view is that $12 million to build a school is not enough, that you should go and request donations from the big people that have the stores here and the Aventura Mall.
Okay. Appreciate that input. Right. The mayor wants to know if we can hand out a hat tonight.
Now that traffic was brought up, but I don't think it's a different topic. However, I think there's a correlation regarding, is there anything in place to make sure that residents that leave Aventura, no longer residents, year after year, they don't keep enrolled, or at least, because that makes traffic, and that's most of the problem with traffic. The people that are already left are coming back to ACES, and they're living already 25 miles away from here, but they come every day, and that makes a lot of traffic. So is there anything in place for this school to make sure that that doesn't happen year to year, and that we de-enroll anyone that still kind of in that
it'll be
irregular
Aventura
situation?
preference only. We'll have a regular system in place to make sure that it's only Aventura residents that are attending that school.
And I would suggest year to year, right? Not just
Correct.
at the entry, but year to year.
Right. We have a current policy at
Yeah,
ACES.
and that's an issue.
Several grades were grandfathered in, but the current policy is once you go into the school, you have to remain in the school. And we would continue that policy with the high school. Right. A resident, correct. Do you have any other questions?
Hi, Vice Mayor Weinberg. I just wanted to respond to something. For those of you that may be opposed to a high school, I'm sorry for that. I can empathize with you, but speaking for myself, I was elected to make decisions, not to put things on the ballot and defer my decisions. I have to do what I think is best. In my opinion, and let me say this first, we're very fortunate, much more fortunate than almost any other city you can imagine. We have money in the bank. We have reserves, mostly thanks to the 21 years of service of a brilliant manager. So if you live in this city and you're opposed to a high school, keep in mind one thing. You have right now the number one lowest tax rate in Dade or Broward. You are paying the lowest tax rate in the 2 counties, probably maybe even the 3 counties, and our tax rate has never gone up since the first day in 1995 that the city was incorporated, and that's going to continue. So now you're getting the added benefit of a high school, which in my opinion is an incredible value added for homeowners if you're selling your home. But more importantly, and my final point is, I can't imagine, and I ask anyone to give me a better expenditure. I cannot imagine that there's anything better to invest some of our reserves. Reserves are for a rainy day. Reserves are for an emergency. Reserves are for something important. Tell me what is a better use of any reserve funds than the future of our children. I can't even imagine. And for the record, because there was confusion last time, I have 3 children who will be matriculating in 3 different high schools next year. None of them are in Aventura. I've never entered the lottery. I am doing what I am doing because you deserve what's best for your children, as all of us parents do.
Again, on behalf of the City Commission, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight, and have a safe evening, and we certainly appreciate all your input. Thank you.